Welcome to 3D.sk, human photo reference for 3D artists and game developers. On this site you can find thousands of images, from studio photo reference to street photo reference. We also have a selection of animals on our site. We have some costumes, we have weapons, armor. We also have 3D scans of bodies and heads, clothing, animals, all the aforementioned above, and 3D maps and textures. So carrying on from the last tutorial where we placed the eyes in the right place where we want them to be, we need to make a eye transition mesh, but you can see that our topology isn't quite in the right place. If you look at this line, it's okay here, still not, it should be more kind of meshing with this or merging with this in a way. Same on the top as well. So you could move it in 3ds Max, but I feel like moving it inside of Zbrush would be easier and more beneficial. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to hide some meshes. I'm going to unhide all. I'm going to hide this one. There should be more meshes. Where are they? Oh yes, we merged them, didn't we? I remember now. We merged the meshes together. So let's we have to work out what meshes these are. So we'll do that first. So let's detach this as, I think this is the cornea eye. And let's call this, actually what we kind of want to do is we kind of want to start merging them together now. So I'm just going to go left, let's call it L. Okay, so that's gone now. So let's hide unselected. Let's just work on one by one. Okay, this would be the eyeball high left. That's fine. That would actually be the eyeball low. Eyeball low L. Let's hide that. This would be the cornea, or the cornea low left. And there's no more meshes. Unhide. No, not unhide by name. Let's unhide all. Go to this one now. Let's call this eyeball low R. Let's detach it. Let's call it cornea low R. Hide that. Wait. Hide unselected. So what other meshes have we got? Okay. This is the eyeball low. Right, so I'm just going to invert. See what that gives us. Okay. So that would be the eyeball high right. Any more meshes here? Doesn't seem like it. So we do have a cornea high left, don't we? Unhide all. Yeah, that's our cornea high. We have an eyeball high over here. So our objective is, now that we've got them all separated, to get the cornea low and the cornea low left, and let's say the eyeball low right, hide unselected. You must remember as well that the cornea low left and the eyeball and the cornea low meshes are the exact same mesh. Yes? So they are the same. So these eyeball low right, all the low poly meshes are the same. So you could say technically that you could get rid of the eyeball low right, right? You could unhide all and just get rid of that. And we could just go to the cornea low and this one. And then we could copy them later when we get onto texturing. Now we've got the eyeball high right here. And we've got the cornea low left there. They're going to have the same UVs for the corneas. So I'm just trying to explain for later so we can understand. Unhide all. This is called the eyeball high left, but that's wrong. Unless there's another mesh that I can see. Can't see because it's shaded. This is a an eyeball high left. We can take that. Let's get our other mesh back. So we have a cornea that we can get rid of here. And we can actually call this eyeball high left. But because we've got both of these, and we only really need one, this one is high poly, and this one is low poly. So technically, this one was a mistake to import in the first place. So the only really meshes we need for projection, if I turn on skin shaded, is this one and this one. It's the cornea high and the eyeball high. Those are the two meshes we need. And these two meshes, which are going to be duplicated. We'll explain in next tutorials how we're going to use these meshes, but we're just sorting out our meshes, and I'm trying to explain to you which meshes are for which, so you can get the idea of what we're trying to achieve later on, so you have the right meshes going forward. Okay, so the next problem is, I'm just going to hide the high poly meshes, so we just only have low poly meshes. Let's have a look at the UVs of some of these. They should be correct. Yep, that seems correct to me. So if we attach these, they will be overlapping, but because they're two separate objects, it shouldn't matter. And if I go to unwrap UVW, we should be able to have two meshes that are exactly the same, as you can see. And this will make it easier just to import, so we don't have to go left, right. Let's just name this cornea low now. So now that we've got that, we've got our cornea low and we've got our high poly mesh, and we're going to be projecting the left side of it. So they will be detached later, but just for now, I'm going to keep them attached. So let's export this. Going to go to here and just call it cornea low. Quite easy. I'm going to go to this. I actually don't need to get that. I don't want that one anymore. We're going to go back to Zbrush. And in Zbrush, we're going to use End Model, which is the one that we're using if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to append a sphere 3D. Go to this, go import. Let's go to 3D scan, 3ds Max end. and we called it cornea low. Let's import that. And I can see that they're in the wrong place. What we can try and do is just rotate them 90 degrees and see how that does. That seems to be in the right place, which is great. And then once we're done, we don't actually need to export these back. All we're doing is adjusting the end model, so our topology is in the correct place. As you can see, it's quite out of where we want it. So there's a couple of things we can do here. Just want to make sure that I've got nothing else showing apart from the cornea and my latest model. We can move these vertexes or this shape in, but we also need to fix a few more things. And the things that we need to fix really is the width of this eye. So let's just, don't have to be perfect for this tutorial, but you should try and perfect the width of your eye to be the same for the majority of the way around. So I'm just going to go on dynamic solo. Maybe move that back a little bit. Maybe I'll do that, move that. Say that width is okay. Just going to click somewhere so it gets the right coordinate or the right pivot for me to camera around. Try and make them roughly the right width. This is why it's helpful to have one poly group that's just one poly group for the width of the eyelid. Okay, so now when I go back up to my subdivisions, it should be a lot better. Let's just go back. Doesn't like what's going on here, so let's just move them a little bit. Maybe choose the make the thickness go up here a little bit. Move this down. Just trying to kind of even things out a little bit. Also, this vertex is kind of doing some weird stuff, but we can fix that. It went completely crazy. Might just go to my smooth tool here and see if I can do anything with that. Okay, smooth tool seems to work. It's kind of clicking around with it. It's kind of smoothing some of them out. Then at 6, it gets kind of crazy. Just go back to 1. Trying to kind of smooth out those areas around the cornea where the topology is being a bit funny. But that should be fine. I might just get an overall smooth now and just kind of move these areas out a little bit. Go up to 6, see if there's any major issues. Seems fine to me. Okay. Now what we can do is we can turn off dynamic solo and we can use those new points that we've made as reference to where we want this. I'm just going to move that in. You could also do this on a lower subdivision if you wanted to. So like so. Might make it a bit easier. Yeah, like that. It's moving all the vertexes in place so they kind of hug the eye. Obviously want to move this out. We also want to go into here and we want these points to be hugging the eyeball as well. So I'm just going to do some point moving here. And just making sure that, for example, here meshes with that, that meshes with that. I'm going to move this up a little bit. You'll see later why this is important once we get onto the next part. So same on the other side. Might have to do the same move up with this. I'm using a mouse to do this, as I find that moving points around and general moving can be done with a mouse, and it's not that much of a big problem. It actually kind of makes it easier in a way to do micro adjustments with your mouse. This can be a little bit more accurate when moving points around. Okay, let's get this vertex out. That's fine. See what's going on here. That's how you kind of want it. Kind of merging with this. Same with this, merging with that. Maybe move that point. Now you can go ahead and you can start defining points a bit better. Making it a bit tighter overall. Just making the whole mesh a lot tighter. And it'll end up looking better in the end result as well, because you've got like an obvious eyelid thickness. Okay, is that correct? Seems to be. Let me just double check this. This should actually be more like so. So I might just move some of these points along. So it kind of curves. Might put a quick smooth on there. Kind of get points doing what I kind of want them to do. I think these still need moving out a little bit. Yep, they do. Move that in a little bit. Maybe smooth out the corner a little bit. Just tap it really. Actually just messed up all my topology, so I actually want to make this a lot smaller. I just want to smooth out this area. That area is okay. Just want a little tap of a smooth. Okay, now when we go to our highest subdivision, see that most of our points are lining up, and it looks a lot better because our eyelid thickness is the same all the way around. So it looks a lot more tighter. We turn on perspective, which we haven't turned on that much in this tutorial. We can see what it looks like. how it looked like in a PBR renderer almost. So now that we've got that, I'm just going to save quickly. I'm going to save this as number 43. Okay, so now that that's saved out, we can go to the lowest subdivision. We can go back to our 3ds Max end, and we can save this as low poly, let's call it head. Low poly head. Now that that's exported, let's open up 3ds Max. By just moving it over to the other screen, now we're back. I can go to 3ds Max end and I can import the low poly head. Do all that stuff. It should import right in place with the polygons in the right position. This one's a little bit out, but we can change that. So this is all for this tutorial. Next tutorial will be creating the eye transition mesh. For this tutorial, I just wanted to make sure that everything's in the right place for it and we're ready for the eye transitional mesh. So I shall see you in the next tutorial. Thanks. Welcome to the end of this tutorial. Feel free to comment with feedback and suggestions below, and also comment on what you would like to see in future videos. Thanks and goodbye.